So, good afternoon, folks. Thank you so much. Uh, I am really grateful to every one of you who's out here, right? You've had a great lunch, you've had networking, and yet you are here. Uh, so, first things first, I am part of the consumer and retail practice of Strategy and. Strategy and is the strategy consulting arm of PwC. We are a pure play strategy team. We used to be earlier known as Booz and Company, right? Uh, we work together with the rest of the PwC teams who have deep functional expertise, whether it is regular technology like SAP or Microsoft Dynamics or what have you. Today, what we're going to talk about, I am not going to give you Gyan. I am not going to give you frameworks, right? Uh, I am going to share a few stories, a few nuggets in the remaining 9 minutes that I have. I'm not going to overstay my welcome. We all know that retail, at the end of the day, is detail, right? So we just want to share with you examples of a retailer where we did an end-to-end transformation, 30% improvement in their EBITDA from minus 25 to plus 5%, helping them break through almost 4 years of stagnant sales, including pre-COVID. So we helped them get to 15% year-on-year growth and much higher same store. We're going to just give you a few examples. And should any of you have any questions, we'll be there at the back. We'll be happy to take any questions, answer all of them, right? So, the moment whenever you want to talk about profit, everybody wants higher profits, right? But the hard part of driving higher productivity in a country like India is that there are no easy answers, right? There is no straightforward magic bullet to say, ki, boss, press this button, 20% higher sales, right? No matter what any salesperson will tell you, to make more money, and like I said, we drove 30% incremental EBITDA, you have to get into the detail of each and every little thing and understand what does each of this mean. And I will just share with you some of these stories. First is to figure out what you stand for your customers. Is your value proposition even relevant, right? Are you the brand today that they look up to versus the brand that their parents looked up to, right? Because as time changes, have you refreshed your brand value proposition? How closely are you ensuring value from all one of your stores, right? And we'll get into examples of what that means. Because, for example, even if you have ARS, right, out of stock still costs companies crores. Uh, so it is not a trivial thing. This case, it was a beauty personal care company. We actually helped them launch a very targeted private label. I mean, in any retailer, at the end of the day, private label is the name of the game, right? So how do you solve each of those, right? To then, like I said, solving small things to saying, look, how do you change the world of the store manager, right? It's very easy to say, boss, get me sales. What else do you need to do? Are you underutilizing your store managers, right? So we'll give you 3, 4 stories today and nothing more than that. First, we talked about tech. Ma'am said tech, consumer experience. I have to give that one slide before I go any further. So often, some of us in the retail sector are very rightly skeptical of technology. There is operational technology, your SaaS, then there is beauty tech, right? Like all these fancy mirrors, right? Now, you might all be skeptical to saying, boss, what's the point, right? But the way to think about it is that in this case, for this client, we actually helped them, do in-store skin testing, Magic Mirror integrated the virtual makeup, right? Now, the way to think about it, it is no different from a woman going to a high-end ethnic store, right? Whichever ethnic store you might think about, and getting a virtual try-on. Now, we know as retailers, if a customer does a trial, they do a try-on, they will buy. So every woman who actually came and tested their skin, their average bill value went up 78%. More time, more consideration, more engagement is more money. So yes, technology can seem fancy, but in the end, it is the same way it works. If you can engage the customer, you can be relevant to the customer, you can give them the guidance that especially the category like beauty and personal care needs, you're going to make more money from the customer, right? And like I said, then 47% quarter on quarter increase for saying these customers, are they buying just the cheapest product from us? Are they buying the moisturizer? Are they just buying a lipstick? Are they just buying a BB cream? Versus full regime. So how many of these folks are actually buying their entire basket from us? Which is what cares in a beauty product offline retailer in the day and age of Nykaa, when Nykaa is really eating all of them up, right? So how do you really get there? Like I said, eventually engagement and giving them tailored recommendations is what matters. Then again, the other question, many of our retailer friends say, boss, ARS lag gaya. Automatic replenishment ho raha hai. My out of stock is no longer a concern, right? But the reality, the messy reality is that high forecasting quality or accuracy at the central level still translates to errors at the store level, right? So in this case, we actually were able to help them realize almost 2+ crores of annual sales simply because there were almost 250 odd SKUs which were regularly going out of stock. 100 of them roughly which were cosmetic, others were more personal care. But we drove down to saying, look, how many of these SKUs are really going out of stock regularly? Are we not replenishing them faster? Are we replenishing the wrong stores, right? So even though technically on paper, yes, one product sold means one product to be replenished, yet we found through a careful analysis that there was leakage. And eventually in retail, there will never be a magic bullet. So one bullet, like I said, one leak at a time that you need to plug on your way to profitability. So this was one leak we plugged. Then the other part, we actually did some pilots and we increased store operating profit 2.5 times. Again, no magic. So start with the funnel, the good old things, telecalling, CRM, cross promotions. If there's a woman who's coming to your store and also goes and shops at an ethnic store or to a women's wear Western store, can you cross promote? Can you cross promote with, say, a jewelry store, with a shoe store, right? Because people are coming on a hedonic expedition to the mall. So if you can work together and give them more reasons to pamper themselves, more people will walk in and more sales will happen. So each of these things we did everything from BTL to saying, look, what are the things that need to work? More space to cosmetics, right? You know, DO can only sell so much. Can we bring in fragrances, right? So getting through saying what is selling more and small tweaks. You'll see on this slide, even for a strategy consulting firm, some of you would feel underwhelmed कि कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. But that's the reality. Money making in retail is plugging the small gaps, is getting that extra 50 rupees every single time from your customer. That is the only way you make money in this country. This is Bharat, right? All of us are Bharat, right? So each of those things, how do you solve all of those things, right? For example, figuring out basis catchment, what brands to further prioritize or deprioritize, right? Because even within a city like Bangalore, there will be student areas, there'll be first-time jobbers, there'll be there'll be, say, people in their late 30s or 40s, women who are better, well-to-do. Depending on the catchment, where do you serve them? Then, again, another example, right? Again, I'm just jumping between them so you can relate to them, right? So we talked about bringing customers in, serving them well. The other magic piece I talked about is private label. Private label is not just about private label. Private label is about knowing what, just like how Amazon Basics does it, right? You need to know what is the product that is selling the most in the market, figuring out if this is at 1,000 rupees, say maybe this is a lipstick, this is a matte lipstick at 1,000 rupees, what does it take for us to deliver the same product to the customer at 750? And then, like I said, having an end-to-end, first figuring out where will you attack? What categories do you want to participate in? What categories have the volume, have the turnover, and have the margins? Because, for example, nobody wants to get into lip balm. Lip balm does not have money. It has turnover, it has volume, but it's not going to change your destiny. You'd rather better off getting into things like bullet lipsticks, right? So figuring out what to launch, what not to launch, where are you spending energy, training the front line, giving them ability to coach the customer and say, what is going to work for you, ma'am, right? So each of these things, figuring out what's the right thing to do, because otherwise inventory gets stuck and then you start piling up losses again, right? So each of these smaller things, we actually cut down some of their older SKUs which we had because, like I said, they had launched entire collections without thinking through where the money lied, right? So again, small pieces. Now again, one of the last piece that I will share with you. Some of you will think, yaar, ye to gyan aa gaya, right? Suddenly, when you talk about store managers, right? What do people normally think? Sales, right? Correct? Because you want to say, ki, boss, store manager, your job is to sit there, run a tight ship, ensure minimum shrinkage, no pilferage, no damage, and just get more money. We are going to send in customers, you just get more money out of their pockets. But the reality is you are disrespecting and underutilizing your store managers. Your store managers are like your local CEOs. They are your eyes and ears. There is high fidelity information. Like I said, they will know every woman who walks in. What bags is she carrying? Because people love to carry the retail bags, right? So you will get to know what shoe brand she is buying, what other things they're buying, where should you work with to drive your cross promotions, right? So there are so many nuances which those people can tell you. They can tell you, sir, this other company is doing X, they're doing Y, they're doing Z. Sitting in headquarters, unless you leverage these people, and sadly, what this reflects is that eventually, if you set the incentives right for your people, then they will give you the answers you need. We should not think that we sitting in headquarters, at certain seniority are necessarily smarter than we are not. Because they will be at the front lines, they are the generals leading the team at the front lines. How do you make it right? Like I said, this is where we were able to therefore drive value for the customer, for our customer, through lots of small initiatives, a 2% here, a 5% there, but eventually we helped them actually drive a lot of things and their valuation went up tremendously. Because like I said, their EBITDA swung from majorly negative to majorly positive. So yes, so I will stop now. I hope this was not too long. No gyan, just real world stories. This is our team. Kushal has been a roundtable. He's conducting another roundtable at this moment. I'm available around should any of you want to say hello. My colleague Saurav, who is the project manager in this case, Saurav, just stand up and just show your face for the team. Yeah. So anybody who wants to say hello, you want to get some stories about the kind of things we did, more than happy to share. We're not going to give you any gyan and no questions also either, because any questions you have, we'd be happy to take it one-on-one. I don't want to take too much time answering questions. We'll be happy to answer one-on-one whatever you might want to know. So thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience. You've been engaged, especially after a lovely networking round and a lovely lunch. So thank you very much.